I get right up on him, and you want to get in his hitbox, which means get in here, right? Get up on him, back it up on him, make him feel you. You get what I'm saying?
You turned me loose from the nervous hospital, and I was well.
All right, how about it, y'all? You got Hawg here. Appreciate y'all stopping by the channel. All right, so if you're not that great of a player like I am, but you want to hang out with the big boys, you want to run 150 GRs, and you want to have high paragons, and you want to do all that, you know, like I talked about in a couple days ago video, you need to make a support, right? It's just how it is. The metas require 2 supports if you're playing 4 people. So you got to have them. Might as well do it. So my support class of choice is ZDH. What that is 0 damage demon hunter, right? It does no damage, but it's very hard to kill, even at a 150 GR. So, quick story behind why I play ZDH. A couple of I call them super nerds, because let's just be real. I want to address this. If you have this game installed on your computer and you play it, you're a nerd, right? It's not a derogatory term. We're all nerds. Now, what sect of nerd you belong to might be different. You know, you got geeks, dweebs, and metalheads, and, you know, whatever, right? We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But we all nerds, so let me just clear that up right now. That ain't meant derogatory. We all nerds. Anyway, my super nerd buddies, they like to be called geeks. But, you know, they kind of took me under their wing. They was like, all right, Hawg, we're going to make you a ZDH, and this is what you do, and la la la. And it was actually their idea, right, for me to bring a video to you like this. So, like I said before, don't be hesitant to make this, because it's easy. It's really easy to gear, and it's, I want to say it's easy to run. It's really not super easy. You can get in games and kind of fake your way through it. But to actually be a ZDH and understand what you're doing, it takes some practice. So I wanted to make this video and show you exactly how to ZDH. And it's kind of like a juggling act. Once you understand one piece of it, then you add another piece of it, then you add another piece of it, then you add another piece of it, right? So at first you've got 1 or 2 things that you can do. And then when you understand, then you add the whole piece of the build. Then it can get a little overwhelming. But anyway, appreciate y'all's growth on this channel. This is crazy. Hit like and comment, subscribe for me. It's just going to keep growing even harder. Thanks for all the comments. I love it all, good and bad. I love engaging with the community. So thank y'all. But anyway, let's get on to it. So what I did, I recommend this now. Make a separate ZDH. And I know people are going to say, oh, Hawg, you got the armory and la la la. I get it, right? Make a separate ZDH. It's a lot easier just to, if someone needs your ZDH, boop, there you are, ZDH. You don't have to worry about, man, did I save my armory last time I changed or whatever. No, you know, there it is every time. It's separate from your, you know, your Impaled Demon Hunter or your Unhallowed Essence Demon Hunter, whatever you're running at the time. It's ready at all times to go, right? Alright, so here's the build. It's Leoric's Crown. So the reason we wear this is it increases the effect of any gem socketed into it by 95%. So we're putting a flawless royal amethyst in there, right? It's giving us 23% life. So it's going to increase the effect of that 95%. So you see our life over here, 2 million life. When you get in with a Z-barb, and they do war cry and stuff, it goes to, your toughness shoots to the, you see it's 685 right here, it shoots up to like 1.5 billion or more. I mean, it's crazy. Then you got your Flavor of Time. Pylon effects last twice as long. So again, you're the one hitting the pylons. So everything in a meta needs to be communicated. So you're, as a ZDH, you are in charge of hitting it. Because you have Nemesis bracers, I'll show you here in the cube in a second. And you have the Flavor of Time. So the flavor of time is going to allow those pylon effects to be twice as long, and that's why we're wearing it. We've also got an esoteric alteration. Okay, and you want to try to level this up as high as you can. Okay, it's going to give you non-physical damage reduction, and if you're below 50% health, all your resistances are going to be increased by 75%. So that's a big deal there. Next up is Wraps of Clarity. Now, notice something here. Y'all, this is thrown on here from pieces that I had in my stash or pieces that somebody dropped. None of this was, I mean, yeah, I rolled fire skills on this, but it's because I rolled it on another character, right? You can go in and tweak it, but this stuff was like, oh, I happen to have these ancient Achilles in here. Let me pop it on there and augment it. You know, I've got this Wraps of Clarity. You know, you see this flavor of time's not even dexterity. It's intelligence. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, but anyway, the Wraps of Clarity, your hatred generators reduce your damage taken by 45 seconds. Okay? We are running a hatred generator, and that is Entangling Shot. Now, there's a couple different reasons that we're shooting Entangling Shot, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But that is, one of the reasons is to proc your Wraps of Clarity, keep your damage reduction down. So you see, we're already got a bunch of damage reduction. We've already got a bunch of resistances. So we're already stacking up pretty high. We got the Bombardier's Rucksack. That's your offhand. This lets you have 2 additional sentries. Right? There's your sentry. We'll get to what that does in a minute. You're going to need a 3-piece Gears of Dreadlands set for this build, right? That is boots, shoulders, gloves. Reason is, you need the 4-piece set. Strafing against enemies will automatically shoot your last used primary skill, and it will also give you 60% damage reduction while strafing, and 5 seconds after. Okay, so again, a lot of damage reduction. So, strafing against enemies will automatically shoot your last used primary skill. So you're going to fire Entangling Shot. That's your primary. And then when you strafe, it's going to fire that again. So because you're firing the strafe, it's a hatred generator. 45 seconds or 45% reduction in damage from the Wraps of Clarity, on top of 60% damage reduction while strafing, and 5 seconds after from the 4-piece set. Hawg, you're not wearing 4 pieces. How are we getting the 4-piece set? Ring of Royal Grandeur. I'll show you in the queue. Okay. The 2-piece bonus, gain 4 seconds of momentum when attacking with a primary skill. Your primary skills deal 10% increased damage per second of momentum. It's really not what we're focused on. It helps a little bit, right? But we want the 4-piece set. That's why we want it. Pants and boots, right? Captains. 6,000 life per second. This is one of these characters, right? That life per second regen actually would matter a little bit. Usually you roll that off immediately. You're not worried about regen. You're not worried about regen. Here's where you could worry about regen or life per hit, stuff like that. All right, so we're regenerating 6,000 life per second. We're reducing the cooldown 20%, and we're reducing the resource cost 20%, because you want your resource cost to be nothing, right? You want to be able to fire all this stuff without running out of anything, which you honestly, you don't ever have to worry about with this build. You don't worry about resources. You don't worry about nothing. All you worry about is doing your job. That's all your 100% role is do your job. We'll get to that. I'll show you the gameplay here in a little bit on and actually how to do it, not just to get in the game. Oh, hey, look, I'm 150, and just blast around and not do your job. There's stuff you got to do. And again, 3-piece set, damage dealt is increased by your percentage cooldown. Damage taken is reduced by your percentage cost reduction. It's just, this is all tank. Tank. That's all we're doing. Put 2 perfect, I always call them perfect from Diablo 2. Flawless roll diamonds is what you want in there. Achilles Cuirass, right? While above 91% primary resource, all damage taken is reduced by 50%. So again, damage taken is reduced by 50%. This is gonna be up all the time. So we're at 150% damage reduction right now, just off the top of my head. Okay, shoulders, like I said, Gears of Dreadnought, gloves. The only thing you want to look out for, make sure nothing has area damage on it. Okay, I can't get into the super technical details about why. Maybe one of y'all can comment why you don't want area damage. But I believe it interferes with the barbarian's ability to pull a group. I think that's what it is, or it lags the game out. One or the other. But you don't need it because you're not doing damage. So roll area damage off into something that will help you survive more, right? Your bow, Yang's recurve. Um, we're gonna make that bitch sanctimonious, right? And you want the multi-shot. So, Strafe now casts the last non-channeled hatred ability. That's not multi-shot. Multi-shot comes on the bow, right? So you want the Strafe now cast last non-channeled hatred spending ability, and you want to put a flawless roll amethyst in that bad boy, right? That will give you 28,000 life per hit. You want to be able to just, because you're going to be non-stop hitting. Because again, your strafe makes your damage reduction bonus happen and all this. You just want to be moving at all times. That's what's going to keep you alive. If you stand still in a pack, you're going to die. And you can't die as a support. That's the number one rule of being a ZDH. Don't die. Okay? Don't do it. Because if you die, then everybody else dies because your bonuses and all this stuff give them defense and it gives them damage. And they SOL without you, especially in a 150. All right, rings. I got lucky. Found a primal Oculus. Regular Oculus will be fine. You want it for the legendary power. Chance to create an area of focus power on killing a monster. Damage is increased by 85%. Right? So you're not worried about that, but your party is. Your party is going to see that Oculus ring, and they're going to run over there and stand in there because they get 85% damage increased, right? So I've got a gem of infectious toxin in there. Efficacious toxin, however you say that. In all enemies you poison take 10% increased damage from all sources and deal 10% less. That's why you want it. It's not because of the weapon damage. Alright, and Obsidian. That's your other one. Reduce remaining cooldown of one of your skills by 1 second when you hit with a resource spending attack. Right? And the gem to put in that is Ice Blink. And I have been told only level it to 25. I don't know why. I can't remember. Don't ask me. If you know, tell me in the comments. Tell me why. I'd love to know why, okay? You need to get it to 25 so it can activate that second legendary power. Enemies you chill have a 10% increased chance to be critically hit. But I guess you don't want them too slow to where they can't be pulled. It's a fine dance around messing it up for the pulls. You know, because your Z-Barb is going to pull all these mobs together. So, anyway, Paragon. Now, this is important, okay? You spend everything. Go ahead and fill that up. Don't worry about dex, because you're not doing any damage. Again, 0 damage. Demon Hunter, ZDH. Vitality, everything. Movement speed, everything. Right? Unless you have movement speed on your boots. And then that gets a little tricky. Okay? I'm counting on somebody to come in and give us the in-depth reason. Offense, you're cool. Okay? Defense, you're cool. All of it. Utility, no area damage. Do not fill in your area damage. Right? You're not doing damage anyway, but don't do it because it's going to mess up the other party members. You're there to support them, not make it harder for them to do their job, right? So just leave those 50 points out. Everything's fine. Now, skill tree. Entangling shot, chain gang. Okay? Strafe, drift, and shadow. Movement speed increased to 100%. You need to be moving with this. Because these other, your RGK, your Rift Guardian Killer, and your Trash Killer, and your Barb, your Z-Barb, they're going to be fast. So you got to be fast. You got to keep up with the pack, right? Alright, March for Death, Valley of Death. Now, if you look up the build on Max Roll, you're going to see something a little different. We run Valley of Death. And the reason why is it puts a whole area down instead of one specific area, right? So we like this big area right here to where I can get a whole mob marked for death instead of something different. So that's why we run that. You've got Companion, Wolf Companion. Okay? It's all about increased damage. So your Wolf Howls, granting you and your allies within 60 yards, 15% increased damage for 10 seconds. And again, comes back to your cooldown. Why do I need a lot of cooldown reduction like with captains? Because you have to be able... This right here, Companion, it has to be up at all times. The second it goes off, it has to come right back up. Because that's giving everybody in your party that's close to you 15% more damage. It's all about more damage, more damage, more damage, more damage. Alright, archery. I'm running multi-shot. Wind chill. Okay, that's what you gotta have. Enemies hit are chilled and have 8% increased chance to be critically hit for 3 seconds. Okay? Keep in mind all this, because when I show you how to start playing, you're going to go, oh, it all makes sense. Multi-shot's going to chill all the enemies, and it's going to make them have a higher chance to get crit hitted. And lastly, we got devices. That's Sentry Guardian Turret. Okay? The turret creates a shield that reduces damage taken by allies by 25%. Okay, so earlier I said that item gave us 2 extra shields. We're able to pop 5.
That would not be wise.
Once it charges, one more charge, and boom. We're able to put up 5 shields, right? So it's giving them all kind of boost. It's giving them damage reduction. That's what they need. Now, on top of the Oculus Ring, you know, you see an Oculus Ring spawn. Boom. So now that person can go in the Oculus Ring, get 85% increased damage, and get reduced damage because they've got a sentry turret on top of them. This is very important. Okay? You've got 5. You need 5 up at all times. If you see... excuse me. If you see somebody moving on your mini-map, cast a turret on them. So if an Oculus Ring moves, and you see one of your party members move, protect him. And that's part of your job. Okay? Your passives are numbing traps. Okay? Enemies you slow, chill, or hit with a fan of knives, spike trap, cow traps. Grenades, sentry fire have their damage reduced by 25. Okay, so enemies you slow, chill, or hit. Right? By sentry fire. So... All right, let's think of some of this stuff you have to think about for a second. So let's think about it. Enemies you slow, chill, or hit with fan of knives, spike trap, cow traps, grenades, and sentry fire. Okay, so we're going to slow them, right? With entangling shot. Slows their movement by 60%. And then we're going to chill them with multi-shot. Enemies hit are chilled. Okay? And then the sentries, these same shields we were talking about, they go crazy. See this, what is this, bow and arrow machine in here? That's what it does. It fires arrows, and they get hit. So that's why we're running that passive, because everything we're doing is doing everything that it's doing. And it reduces the damage. So it's all about reducing damage. The awareness keeps us alive. So it basically gives us that second chance. When you receive fatal damage, you instead vanish for 2 seconds and regenerate 50% of maximum life. Once per minute. And custom engineering. So increase the duration of your caltrop, marked for death, spike trap, sentry. So we're using 2 of those. We're using the mark for death, and we're using the sentries. So that's increasing our duration by 100%, and lets us have 5 sentries instead of 3. All right, custom engineering. Increase the duration of your caltrops, marked for death, spike trap, and sentry by 100%. And this will increase the maximum number of charges of sentries to 3. So it lets you have 3 sentries and 3 charges. So now we gotta wait. There's a charge. It's charging up now. There's a charge. Now I can pop 2 more. Okay, we're getting the 2 extra ones from bombardiers. You may have 2 additional sentries. Okay. And last one will be hot pursuit. Increase movement speed by 20% when you hit an enemy. So basically, all the time you're getting 20% because you're always hitting an enemy. All right, for what's in our cube here, Odyssey's End. Very important. This is very important. Don't swap this out for anything else, right? Odyssey's End. Enemies snared by your entangling shot take 150% increased damage from all sources. So that means when you fire this thing, right? When you fire entangling shot, all your party can do 150% damage, right? So that's unnecessary. Your middle piece is going to be Nemesis. Why do you need Nemesis? Why would you want Shrine and Pylons will spawn an enemy champion? You're going to need an extra champion to get through the rift. If you're running a GR150, you have very little room for error. Sometimes you have to completely scrap a whole map because it just isn't going to work. You didn't get the density you needed. You didn't get the monster type that you needed or whatever, right? Well, champions, they drop those orbs you pick up that give you more time. So you're going to hit the pylon anyway. You might as well get an extra champion to give you 4 orbs. So that's why you run it. You are in charge. One of your many jobs is in charge of Nemesis, or in charge of pylons. So, and the last piece will be Ring of Royal Grandeur. It's almost universal in every build. You just, if you don't have it, get it. Act 1, Act 4 bounty cash is how you get it. And wear it. Don't wear it. Put it in your cube. That way you don't have to run. See, that's how we're getting 4-piece bonus set out of 3. That's how we're getting 3-piece captains out of 2. Right? That's how you have to do it. Now, let's go over your job description as a ZDH. You're there to boost the party and their damage. You're there to shield the party while they do damage with turrets. Okay? You're also there to somewhat contain enemies with entangling shot and multi-shot. You're also there to provide a pretty massive damage boost. You're also, because you're such a super tank, you're also able to go res people if you need to, resurrect. So, it's very important to have a ZDH. And it's very important that it be in the party. And as I'm telling y'all that, I just remember the last piece that's very important. Your job's to break walls. So you need a Kool-Aid potion. Bottomless potion of Kool-Aid. Right here. You drink this, which you'll see it's kind of hard to drink because sometimes you can't take damage. But you drink that, and boom, all those walls with a waller drop. Alright, so now let's check out some footage, okay, of a 150 with me doing a ZDH. And I'll kind of do a voiceover and all. about what you need to do, and I'll pause it and I'll show you exactly what's going on, what you need to do, and how to do it effectively. Because the better that you get at being ZDH, the higher your paragons are going to go, and the more people are going to want to play with you because you're a good ZDH, right? All right, so the first thing you want to do when you load into the rift floor, okay? Um, and I know I said we were going to do 150. This is a 140 because I had some audio issues with the 150 run. Anyway, you want to come in here and you want to fire your entangling shot 5 times. That will make you have this stack right here get to 20. That's what's going to make you keep up with everybody, okay? I'm going to come in and fire my entangling shot. I'm casting. So we have a wizard in the party, okay? And so there's a lot going on. This is kind of difficult to do at this point, but I'm trying to keep the wizard alive. And so that's why you see that I cast this shield right here when I came into the open area, because this is where we're going to do our pull. So I said, okay, I need to give the wizard somewhere to go get safe immediately, right? I'm following the Z-barb. So you notice that the Z-barb's doing all the pulling. Here's our wizard right here. I'm dropping a shield so that the wizard can transition to another shield, and we're fixing to set up our pull. So this is our first kind of pull. I've set up 3 or 4 sentries. So including this one right here, that's 5. You can see number 5 right here. Okay. Now, you're going to cast your mark of death in the center. So your companion's up. Okay. You see right here, we have the companion. Ebian's getting that buff. I've got it. But this shows you got to stay close to the ZDH to make sure that you're getting that buff, right? So I've got my sentries down. We don't have an Oculus ring that's popped yet, but we want to lay our mark of death down right here in the center of the pack. And then you want to just strafe around this pack and fire multi-shot every 3 seconds and entangling shot, right? And that's it. You want to be the center of attention. You want them to attack you, right? You also want to be watching the outside. So as we sit right here, I need to drop a shield on Slim here. Let's see if I do it. Okay, Slim comes in. Now, we're going to hit some lag, and there's our Oculus ring right there. Okay, we actually have 2 Oculus rings because somebody else in the party, most likely the Z-barb, is wearing one. Now, when you get on this kind of level right here, and you start experiencing this massive lag, there's one way to fix it. Go on Australia or a South America server. So make you a buddy, get him to launch a game, you go in it, right? And he leaves. Then you've got an Australia server game or a South America server game. We tried it out last night. It's not that big a deal. You will have like a 250 ping, but it's fine. But the game will start breaking like this, okay? But I'm going to use this opportunity to point out it kind of slows everything down because this happens real fast. But it just gives me an opportunity to show you, here are the Oculus rings, right? Here are shields. Here's the pull. This red right here is the mark of death. I don't have it placed 100% perfectly, but that's why you want that valley of death, because it gives you this large area, okay? Here's our trash killer, our wizard. Here's our Z-barb. And here's our Rift Guardian killer, right? So as you can see, my turrets are kind of overlapping into the Oculus ring. So A, there's nobody in the Oculus ring, and B, the shields are kind of overlapping. So my attention's really not focused on them. If I see somebody walk over there, then I'm going to try to get a shield on them as quick as possible. And also the game's lagging. But you see, right here, The Z-barb's pulling them all in the center. I'm in the center. We're bringing all the attention on ourselves. Of course, my mark of death's real wrong. But this is how you want to do it. Because you can take all the damage, you want to be inside. Now, there it was. You see, I cast right here. Let's jump back 10 seconds. There's fixing to be an Oculus ring that pops. I'm going to cast a shield over it. Here it comes. There it is. Okay. Right here. I notice it. Now, wizard's getting attacked. Oculus ring pops. There's some meteors that are fixing to come. So, and boom. Right there, I'm going to pop the shield over the Oculus. He's going to step in. It's a little hot for him there. There's another one. Boom. I'm going to pop that one. That's your main priority. And so you see what I'm doing here. I'm staying close to the wizard, right? So if you have a character that's squishy already, that gets killed easy, or, you know, just the nature of its class to be squishy, you want to try to stay with this character. Because A, you can cast shields, and B, it can take your buffs, right? So that will help out if you can try to, I hate to say babysitting because it's such a bad word, but if you can babysit the character that's squishy or give it more attention, it'll help it out. See, so right there, you saw me cast an orb over him. There's the projectiles coming out. But that's just me trying to give him some extra protection. We're going to do a pull right here. Doesn't take much. This is a good pull right here. We've got Oculus Ring. There's shield over it. Mark of Death's in the center. It's a real tight, compact pixel pull. Wizard's outside. The Z-Barb has disengaged to go get some more trash. This is a really good pull. Again, you notice that's number one priority is casting over these Oculus Rings. Because in one split second, the Z-Barb could decide, I'm going to drag him over to the Yaki, right? And if he does, everything's prepared. Wow. Right? There's one that's wiped. Mark of Death is down. All right, again, see, here's our wizard, Oculus Ring. Let's see if I do my job. Yeah, I'm a little late on that. All right, so you get the picture on this. Let's skip forward a little bit. Let's show you what to do with the Rift Guardian. Now, the Rift Guardian's going to be a little different, right? What I like to do, if you're an experienced ZDH player, let me know in the comments if you do this also, right? But what I like to do is put some shields around the boss and just look for Oculus Rings, but I get right up on him. And you want to get in his hitbox, which means get in here, right? Get up on him. Back it up on him. Make him feel you. You get what I'm saying? Get up all in his face. So you want to try to get him to attack you at all times so that the Rift Guardian killer can do his job, right? Like I said, everybody has a role. So I'm going to cast some shields, put my Mark of Death down, and then there I am, all up in his face. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Shields for everybody. And I'm multi-shotting, and I'm entangling shot. Make sure you don't forget to cast your entangling shot, right? Because that's what's allowing the party to do 150% extra damage. So Oculus Rings are up. When the second he moves, the Mark of Death, see my Mark of Death's right here. And then I'm fixing to move it. That's another thing you got to pay attention to is your Mark of Death. You got to get it on the right spot, right? I'm a little slow on that. Come on, Hawg. There it goes. See, just get up in his face, move and groove. You don't want him focused on the wizard. You don't want him focused on the Rift Guardian killer. You just want him focused on you. Yep, see, there's my mark of death, and he's dead. Boom. So, there you go, right? So that's all you got to do. I know that's, so, 45 or so minute long video, but I wanted to give you in depth. This is how you run a ZDH. There's no questions. There's no whatever. I know you can jump on Max Roll and you can read about it, right? But from a casual player that's been taught by these guys right here are really good, and I've been learning from them, right? So here's my experience. Learn from me. But this is how you do it. This is how you get 150s. This is how you do the higher in-game content. You don't have to worry about dealing damage. It's a very easy build. Like I said earlier, super simple build, okay? Put it together and start ZDHing and practicing. So anyway, appreciate the growth, y'all. It's crazy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, maybe share with your buddies. But we got big plans coming up for the channel. We got some other games we're going to be starting to play coming out whenever some new games come out soon. I don't know, probably Skull and Bones and definitely Diablo 4. So anyway, appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time.